Hello, and welcome back to the Cheater's Guide to FNaF World. Last episode I explained how to locate and use the save files, so if you need to go back to that, I will put a link in the description. Today we will be discussing one of the save files called Info. This file appears on game startup even if you haven't yet chosen a save slot. It can also be manipulated by Ultimate Custom Night. More on that later. The info file mainly controls what is displayed on the menu. It's not terribly complex, and most entries are simply binary variables that are either on or off. In most cases, the variable will be absent at startup, which is basically the same as being set to 0. Once turned on, it will be set to 1. If there are more options than just on or off, this may vary. First tells whether or not the opening cutscene has already played. Obviously, if there is no info file yet, this value is 0, so the opening cutscene plays. Once you have done this, the first entry will appear set to 1. If you set it back to 0, you can watch the opening cutscene again. If nothing else, just to remind yourself what it even was, since you usually only ever see it once. If you set this value to something other than a number, it will also be treated as 0. However, if you set it to a different number, such as 2, the game no longer knows what to do. After displaying the warning, it simply goes to a black screen, and you have to kill it to get out of it. There can be up to 3 mode, diff, hour, and min entries, one for each save slot. Mode shows which mode, adventure or fixed party, that particular save slot is on. No entry, 0, or a non-number will display empty, meaning a game has not yet been started on that save slot. 1 means adventure mode, and 2 means fixed party mode. If you put in an invalid number, it displays text. Yes, very useful default text. Despite making these changes, the game mode does not actually change if you do this, since this is only what displays on the menu. Diff is also straightforward, whether you are on normal or hard difficulty. If there is no entry or it isn't valid, nothing will display here. 1 is normal mode, and 2 is hard mode. Again, this doesn't actually affect the in-game difficulty. Hour and min are how long you have played on that particular save slot. No entry, or an invalid entry, will simply display as 0, but any number, including negative numbers, will display what you entered as your time. Yes, I've definitely played for -6 hours. That's perfectly normal. Now we move on to trophies. Whenever you make an accomplishment or achieve an ending, you are awarded a trophy, and this remains even if you restart the save slot due to being saved in the info file rather than the FNAF file. Got Pearl is the Pearl trophy, obviously, awarded once you've caught the Pearl in Dee Dee's fishing hole 5 times in one save slot. All is the Fan trophy, awarded once you've unlocked all 48 characters. There are 7 beat game entries, 1 for each of the 7 possible endings. 1 is for beating Security, 2 is for beating Anim Dude, 3 is for beating Chipper's Revenge, 4 is for finding the 4th sublevel, regardless of whether you talk to Old Man Consequences or drown in the lake, 5 is for getting the clock ending, 6 is for getting the universe end, and 7 is for beating Chica's Magic Rainbow. Beat Game 4 can also be achieved in Ultimate Custom Night by setting Old Man Consequences to 1. When he appears, catch a fish, you'll be taken to the 4th sublevel, same as in FNaF World, and must drown in the lake to get out of it. Even though you are not playing FNaF World, this will make the Drown trophy appear on the menu. Setting any of the trophy entries to anything other than 1 just makes it so the trophy doesn't display. There's not really much reason to mess with the info file since it doesn't affect gameplay, but I suppose you can make it look like you achieved all the endings even if you didn't. If you want to make any real changes, you'll have to mess with the FNAF files, but we'll get into that in the next episode. Until then, see you around!